right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are back again in your ears with Chibububu, the podcast that you want to hear, the podcast that you want to share with your friends, the podcast that you want to do that to, go boom, 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 boom. You know, yeah, we're kind of like wrestling, but about soccer. So here we are. But hey, we got a full panel today. We got a full panel today.
Soccer.
It's football. Yes, I'm sorry. I live in America, so I say soccer now, but it's football. But we got a full panel today. We've got a Liverpool fan. We've got two Manchester City fans. It's like a unicorn. We've got a United fan, and we have a Chelsea fan.
Boop, 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 boop.
So here we go. So I'm just going to introduce my panel. We got Nyasha, who is an avid Liverpool fan, and he's even more of a Liverpool fan now that Joe Allen doesn't play for Liverpool anymore. And then Tinashe, who is our resident Chelsea fan, who's real excited about Mauricio Pochettino. We'll see what happens with that. Luwazi is back with his Blue Moon Rising opinions. Tate is back with his Blue Moon Rising opinions. We've got Taff back on the United side, and then Tendakai and I supporting the Gunners. So 7 of us. We'll see if we can do this in a civilized manner.
Please announce Man City with more respect. We've got a lot of
wow! What? You got. It's a new season.
Respect.
It's a new season. New format. Okay. The respect is we announced you. That's all you need. Guys, the Premier League is back. We're all glued to our TVs on Saturday and Sunday, on Friday too. Let me hear your first thoughts. Who's excited about the league being back? What's been exciting over this first 2 weeks? Nyasha, we'll go to you.
No, first of all, league being back and having to negotiate for remote rights with my wife, that's always fun. So it's
I feel
like
that. I am negotiating with my wife and 4 kids.
So it's one of those where it's like, okay, like I'm thankful for the night games, because games after, especially for Champions League, that's when it's like no beef whatsoever. But no, it's always good, and like especially just Premier League, nice. But we've had such a saturation of football of late that is just too much. But Premier League has always been the gold standard, in my opinion, given the ability for any. Congratulations on Latin making it. Marvelous Nakamba representing, which is always great. Yep. And that's what is great about the Premier League, that you can get some little town thing from like Latin Town be promoted 4 times and have the chance to win the Premier League, which is friggin' awesome.
Okay. That's great. Tinashe, welcome to the podcast. We've been trying to get you on here for months now. So, what are your feelings about the league being back? You guys came 12th last year. How are you feeling about it this year?
Bro, I'm super excited. I'm super stoked for this season. I think the early injuries have kind of rattled us a little bit, but hey, I'm quietly confident. So, heard Mudrik's not playing tomorrow, so that's a bit of a disappointment. But other than that, man, I'm stoked. Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. Tate, it's been a while since you've been here. How are you feeling? You guys have played 2-1-2. Are you going to play 38-1-38 this year?
It's good to have the season back. It's a slow start, I think, but I think there's a lot to come in terms of, I think, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton, I think, is going to be up there as well. I think it's going to go the other way for Man U. It's going to be a long season. Man U, that's for sure.
Okay.
Liverpool's definitely going to be challenging again in the top 4. City as well. Arsenal, I think they're going to have a bit of a slow one. Whether they'll challenge like the last time, we'll see. Because we'll hear when you guys speak, but from your first 2 games, it's not looking nice.
I mean, we still have 6 points, so we're not worried yet. It's when the points start dropping that we get worried. Taff, shots have been fired. How are you feeling about United? Played 2, and what's happened?
So firstly, I want to know why Man City fans are taking shots at us for no reason. Firstly, can you put some
Burnley. Oh,
can you put
sorry.
some respect? Can you put some respect? Put some respect on our names, please, guys. Let me tell you, this is just an
Uh-huh.
abusive relationship, and I'm tired. I'm tired. This disappointment. Like I said this about Mason Mount and Usha is not. He knew. He knew. That's why he's not here. Guys, we all knew those signings were terrible signings. There was a time I just watched Mason Mount. I'm telling you, I just watched him for 3 minutes on the pitch, and I just felt my soul dying inside, simply because he's so. It he there's this, and Anthony is even worse. If that's possible, I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was possible for me to say, "Ish, I wish he could play as good as well as he did last season." That's the point where at now. It's just I look at the defense and
That's so funny.
and there's a point I was like, do we bring on Maguire? It's just the thing is, it's just I think Ten Hag got it wrong, and I think that they're caught in between two mindsets, between trying to build and trying to get players that the board wants and him. Because I mean, those signings don't make they have not elevated our team. If anything, we've gone back a step. And I think in the Premier League, that's death, because the competition is so high that if you do not step up, it doesn't matter whether you came fourth in the previous season. As Chelsea fans, they'll tell you how they went from where they were to 12th in one season. So
Yeah.
it happened.
Yeah.
But that's not a performance issue. That's a managerial issue. I mean, we had the wizard at the helm, so hey, cut us some slack,
Harry
guys.
Potter.
Cut us some slack, guys.
We won't cut you slack because you spent $1 billion. So we're gonna put the pressure on all season long. But let's jump into Ruazi. I know you haven't talked yet in either Tendekai, but we'll jump into our first question of the day. So what's been the best game of the first 2 weeks? So Ruazi, you get to go first.
Yeah, it's been quite an interesting one, eh? Lot of not much goals, but a lot of red cards, especially in this previous game week. I have a feeling we're gonna see a lot of those for the foreseeable future, because I'm not sure about these rules that the Premier League's got going on. Also with the extra time as well, for there's time added on if maybe there's like a stoppage in the game or a review or whatever. But so far for me, City have been quite impressive. I'm not gonna lie. But Brighton and Newcastle, they've been shocking me so far. So I will definitely have to say one game that stood out for me. It has to be like I think it was the Newcastle against the first game. I think in the first game week, I think it was Newcastle and Villa. Villa
against Aston Villa. Yep.
Yeah. That one caught me by
lost
surprise.
1-1,
And when
I think it was 5-1.
Yeah, 5-1. And that was like, whoa, okay, that is crazy. And then when we played them against City, when City played against them this past weekend, that's where I kind of got an idea of like, you better watch out this season for Newcastle. They could possibly challenge very well for the campaign. It sounds crazy to say now, but just judging from the way they played against us, like they didn't really come at us as I expected them to be, especially now when City played them. But City kind of also didn't have to get out of full gear to get past them. Now, I'm not sure whether that's more of a situation of the manager on the day, perhaps. I'm not sure. Nama, he got it wrong with his tactics by allowing them to sit back as opposed to be more open in the game. But that's been interesting for me. But I must say, in as much as it's difficult to do so, Liverpool has been quite interesting. Luis Diaz has been scoring some lovely goals so far. I'm enjoying that. In the first game week, we had Salah with a nice pass there. Kind of looked like a De Bruyne pass, to be fair. And just now we had Luis Diaz with the back kick. So that, gents, I'm literally all over the place. But
De Bruyne is not the only person with a foot. It's fine. We're gonna move on to someone else. Tendekai, what's your best game for the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a good start. I think, like what Loazi mentioned, the Aston Villa Newcastle one was very good. But as much as it pains me to say it, I think the one that I think was actually quite entertaining, balanced, and went back and forth was Brentford versus Tottenham. That was a pretty good game. I think we saw how dangerous Madison could be this season, and how I'm saying Brighton now. Brentford actually does have a plan without Tony. It looks like Mbemo and Visa up to the task. So that was my most entertaining game so far.
Tate, tell us your favorite game or your best game so far.
Shout out to Man U versus Tottenham.
Just taking shots all day.
I'm out of the podcast. I gotta go beat this guy up. He's been holding his breath. No one mentions that game.
The Aston Villa Newcastle game was good, but after watching Newcastle versus City, no bias there, I think that was a really good game in terms of showing Newcastle's class, but also City had to dig that one out because I think we've lost a lot of depth and we've got a couple of injuries. So it's going to be interesting in terms of how the season goes with the injuries that we have, but also the turnover that we had in terms of like the experienced guys. But the level of quality in that game was interesting to show. So where Newcastle is now, and I think there's another level to get to. So for me, it will be City Newcastle game.
Okay. What about you, Tinashe?
Well, I'm going to be a bit biased here. So Chelsea v Liverpool is the standout game for me. I mean, we absolutely rocked it. I don't know what else to say. I think it was very evident that obviously Caicedo is going to make a difference. I mean, obviously we've had Carney get injured since then, so that's probably going to change the way we play going forward. But I think it shouldn't be too much of a struggle. So looking forward to the Luton game, but special mention as well to the Wolves Man United game. That was just back and forth. That was just a wild one. But yeah, those two games for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead. Nyasha, please tell us your best game of the first 2 weeks.
No, like the one which I watched, the Newcastle game, because it shocked me in the sense that, yeah, they've got a whole bunch of money behind them, but at the same time, they're not doing Chelsea things, no offense. And they're not doing Manchester City
None
things,
taken.
where it's the most expensive person and what. So you can see that Eddie Howe is working with what he's got, and they're doing quite well with what they've got. And I've got very little doubt that they'll actually they could even come second, honestly, if they do, simply because he seems to have the ability to use the tools that he has at his disposal, and you're not actually going to single anyone out. Those guys are playing like a well-oiled machine, and such that I doubt any of us could name 6 players from Newcastle, but still the guys are doing well.
Okay, I'm with that. I think for me, the game that I'm going to go with is Brighton versus Wolves. Because when I watched Wolves play United, I was like, oh, here we go. And then Brighton just whipped them. So I don't know what that says about Wolves or Man United. We'll get to see as the season commences or keeps going. But Brighton keeps scoring goals, and they look exciting, and they look dangerous. So I think that's been the best game, just to be able to see their attacking interplay, their ability to, or lack of ability to defend sometimes. But yeah, that's it. Tindakai, did you answer this one?
Me, yes, I said the Brentford Tottenham.
Oh yeah, that's true. So I think did we miss anyone? Taff, you didn't get to go. You want to talk about Man United again?
I'll pass by United States. Look, I agree. I think Newcastle Aston Villa was definitely it was that was all action.
Yeah, no, it's true. So as we think about the first 2 weeks, whose stock is rising? So as a player, a team, a manager, whose stock is higher than what you thought it would be before game week 1 started? Tate, go ahead.
In terms of stock, in terms of the manager, I think Postecoglou, that's how we pronounce his name.
Yeah, I'm sure.
After losing Kane, the sort of idea that was that Tottenham were going to sink right to the bottom, but he's sort of holding them up and he's got them playing well. I don't know how they'll spend that 100 mil, but his stock is rising. I think he looks a decent coach.
Yeah.
In terms of player, I would go with the Newcastle striker Isak, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was watching him from La Liga. I didn't think he was that good. He was a wonder kid, really, on Football Manager.
Yeah.
But he's sort of doing well, and I think there's good potential there for him to run the goal scoring chart. So that's my guy.
Okay.
In terms of team,
now you don't have to give us all three of them, but if you have all three, we'll take them. You can pick the.
Okay, so I'll use those two actually because team no one's shining really from what I'd already expected.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Those two are good. Yeah.
Okay. Tinashe, stock rising, either a player, a team, a manager, a combination of the two, three. What do you have for us?
Surprise. For player, I'm going to go with Enzo. I think in terms of
even after missing a penalty.
Hold on. I think in terms of stats as a midfielder, I think he's first in all categories.
Okay.
So I mean, obviously he's someone that we're expecting him to kick on, and I feel like these first two games he's starting to show his class, and obviously it'll be nice if the rest of the team can match that level or get up to that level. But certainly he's doing some brilliant things. In terms of team,
so you
go on.
So you forgive him for missing a penalty kick that lost you the game.
He had no business taking that penalty kick, but then you look at it and you think, well, he's a World Cup winner. So I think we were going to struggle in that department. I think the only other person at the time who could have taken that penalty, who I was confident in, is probably Sterling, which again isn't saying a lot. So in terms of team, I'm gonna have to go begrudgingly with Brighton. I think they've obviously lost key players, and they seem to be still ticking along. And in actual fact, they don't even seem to seem like they're missing Caicedo, which is exceptional. So obviously, the manager I'm going to go for is De Zerbi as well. I think he's going to be a problem in the league. So I know someone was saying Newcastle is going to finish second, but dark horse Brighton top 4 maybe if they continue like this. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder about their depth, but we'll get back to that. What about you, Taff? Whose stock is rising? Again, you guys can do all three. You can do one. Whatever you want to pick.
I was going to say, coach-wise, I think Eddie Howe. So far, I think his stock is rising. He was always felt like a mid-range manager, you know. I know we've had those arguments quite a bit, but it felt like a mid-range manager. But now we're beginning to think maybe he's actually a good manager. And there's a kid from Chelsea. I've forgotten his name. Maybe Tinashe, you can help me. Is it Chi something? He's one of your kids. He scored a really good goal.
Carney.
Yeah.
Carney Chukwuemeka. Yeah.
I know he's injured. Right, he's injured now, but I mean, he's really exciting. I think for me, I saw him play. I was like, yeah, this is exciting. Which country is he from?
Did you see that quick feet in the box there?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Chukwuemeka, I think he can represent England. I think he's represented England as an under-20.
Most likely England, yeah.
So he'll most likely pick England for his full squad. But yeah, I was surprised he left Villa to go to Chelsea. But if he's going to play, then that's good for him. Let's go with the Mac, Mr. Nyasha. Whose stock is rising?
I'd mentioned before, I'll talk about coaches for right now, but Eddie Howe, definitely, simply because of what he's done, his ability to use the things which he's got without breaking bank. And a Liverpool guy in terms of players, Sobol Sazlai. I don't know how to pronounce his name as well. Our player.
Dominic Soboslai.
Yes. Watching him play, like he's got the ability to slow down the game and distribute it, especially since we're lacking a DM at the moment. So that ability to slow down a game and bring it to a pace which is comfortable for my team, I was just like, oh, I was actually quite just surprised. I had never actually seen him play, even heard of him,
Mm-hmm.
but he has, for myself, been a very good player. And a team by itself, definitely Brighton.
Okay.
I'm afraid, I'm a little bit afraid that it will go and do a Wolves when it was with Nuno Espirito Santo, where they were just pummeling guys, then all of a sudden they just dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
So, yes, right now their stock is rising as a team. I would love to see them actually challenge. That will be my dark horse team for the season. But I'm
Okay.
afraid they're gonna do a Wolves.
Okay. We'll see what happens.
Uh,
Chindakai,
and,
stock rising
and shout out to the Tottenham coach,
Oh yeah.
especially
That's
coming from he's
from
especially
Celtic.
coming from the Scottish league,
Yeah.
where it's like a one horse thing, and yeah,
It's
he's
one and a
actually
half
done well.
horses. It's one and a half horses, depending on the year.
Yeah,
Makes
because
sense.
even if you look at when Rogers came there, when what's his name, Lennon came over, all those guys just
Yeah.
failed, but he's an Australian coach, comes in, loses Harry Kane, and somehow you can see that the team actually has
Yeah.
good structure.
Yep. I agree with that. I think my answer is that I was just gonna pick a manager, and for me as an Arsenal fan, it pains me to say, but I think Postecoglou's stock is definitely rising. I thought it would be a mess. I thought missing Harry Kane would be trouble, but he's found some sort of they don't have Rodrigo Betancourt either for the midfield, but he's found some sort of balance, and he's found a way to play with the guys that he has. He was smart enough not to start Oliver Skip, so I think his stock is definitely on the rise for me. When I look at managers, Chendagai, who do you have?
I was saying, I think player-wise, I was kind of caught in between Brian Bearmore from Brentford. I think he's done quite well, so I think I'll stick to him because unfortunately, Taff, this is going to be bad with you again. I think Pape Sarr played very well against United, but I think I just need to see him in another game because United right now is seeing fire. But he's looking much better because I think the first time I saw him, I think was it like last season. I think he came on in an Arsenal game and he just looked like a fish out of water. So he was looking quite good on Saturday.
Yeah, Luazi, stock rising.
No, I definitely have to go for Phil Foden. I'm gonna sound very biased for saying this, but only because in as much as
just
we kind of,
sound very biased.
I mean, listen,
That's a very professional
but at
take.
least I'm speaking facts, though. We're all witnessing this. So I think Foden
Tell them.
definitely for the season, in as much as everyone kind of does expect him to perform well, because we kind of know what Phil Foden is all about. But this season, everyone is obviously like flying the rumors of like, yeah, De Bruyne out, Foden is going to have a much more senior role. You're going to get to see Foden pretty much almost every single game now until probably De Bruyne comes back. And he's been proving it right. I mean, so far for the past 2 games against Burnley, he was quite fantastic. Recently as well, he was man of the match. I mean, man's turning like a Swiss clock on the field. It's just doing everything right. I'm just a little bit concerned about how the service that Haaland is gonna get is gonna be like this season, because when you look at the way De Bruyne used to supply Haaland, it was just straight, and Haaland he would just spray the ball, and Haaland would just only have to tap in or finish, or just quickly maybe control once and then finish. With Foden, you see he wants to play a 1-2 touch. He wants to make that extra pass, but his stock definitely this season is gonna shoot through the roof.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, my thing with Foden is we talk about him all the time. He can't string together 5 good games. He's been Young Player of the Year for whatever reason for two seasons. So, let's see what happens. Huh?
For whatever reason,
No,
come
but,
on.
I mean, we can relitigate it and go look at the stats in the years that he's won, and it is very much whatever reason. It's very much he won it because he played for City, not because he was the best young player. There's been at least 2 or 3 other young players that have played better than him through a season. If you go look at it without the blue moon eyes, and you'll see it yourself. I think.
Okay.
The championship eyes.
Yeah, yes, okay. The treble eyes, the championship eyes, whatever they are. Look at it a different way. Okay, well, let's do our last. I want to do our last segment here, because with lots of people, we'll go on for 50 minutes, but we want to keep it short and sweet. So we're gonna introduce a new segment called Wishu. Wishu means you swing and you miss. So for our Wishu segment, I want to hear your biggest swing and miss so far this season. So let's go with Tate. Who's your biggest Wishu of the season so far?
West Ham was a good candidate for this, but I will go with Wolves because Wolves, damn, that's looking rough. That's looking really rough. And if you think about it, that's a team. I think a year ago or 2 years ago, they were signing all these Portuguese talents, the top guys. They Neves, who they lost to Saudi money, and now they lost their coach. I think even before the first game kicked off. So I think no one thought that they would fall off like this. I mean, they struggled last year, but not to a point where we thought they would start off this badly. And I think they're now super candidates for relegation if they don't change stuff. So once we get Nunes out of Wolves, I think it's a done deal.
We'll see if you get him. Let's go to Tinashe. What's your Wishu?
This is gonna pain me to say because I've backed this chap. I thought he was gonna succeed. Quite frankly, he's been a major disappointment. I'm gonna go with Romelu Lukaku. My God!
No, I thought you had an option with Mason Mount, you had Kai Havertz, and you went with Lukaku.
Bro,
the stallion.
It's got to the point where we're begging him to sign for Saudi Arabia, bro. I mean, this is not. He's holding the club to ransom, man. And I backed this guy to succeed, man. And it pains me to say, but yeah, I think Lukaku. I think the majority of it is self-inflicted. I mean, he's a poor decision making, so I guess in a way he kind of deserves it. But yeah, enough said.
Okay. Lwazi and Taff.
So quick one, just on that. I think we should have a podcast where we talk about management and players. I think it'll be a very interesting topic to discuss because I think about players.
I'm down.
And I think he's been poorly managed, like poorly. I agree. For me, my biggest issue has to be Liverpool failing to sign two of their
Caicedo and Lavia.
They don't have. That was the most. As a Man U fan, my season was made. I won't lie. But that was just, it was just very poor. I mean, Liverpool knew from the beginning of last season that they needed to sign some CDMs. And I think just the way they moved really slow, the lack of initiative. And I mean, there's so many reasons that have been mentioned, but I think it's super surprising because Liverpool, in terms of recruitment, I think have been the best up to this point. It's very hard to look at a club that's done recruitment better in terms of value for money and players translating from when they got Salah up to Mane, up to all the other players that you brought in. So, yeah, that was very shocking.
Yeah. Lwazi, what do you think?
I actually love Sean Dyche as a manager. He's quite entertaining when it comes to press conferences. I don't know what's going on today at Everton, man. I think I might have to withdraw what I said last week about who might get relegated. I think Everton have a big chance of being relegated. So far, they've been so poor. Clive Lewin just also got an injury recently. He's normally the guy that they obviously look to for goals. But even that, I don't know. I was just looking at their body language recently in the previous game. I don't know. It just concerns me. And now there's even talk about, obviously they're busy trying to get a new stadium, but at the same time, it's also difficult for them to buy new players and just fill up. Because they really survived by the skin of their teeth last season when it comes to relegation battle.
The last 2 years. Last 2 seasons.
Yeah. It's draw. How Everton are still here. And this is a team that actually used to be managed by Archolonte not so long ago, 3 or 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And they were spending money, they were trying to get players as they should. Andre Gomez for me was one of their good signings when he was wearing the 8 at the time. But I don't know what's been going on ever since. You start to wonder if a guy like Pickford, I wonder if he continues at this rate, will Nick Pope from Newcastle take his position in the England squad? You start to wonder because they're conceding so many goals. But yeah, I think Everton definitely big wushu there, my friend.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like we can add tap to your podcast and talk about ownership as well. Talk about ownership, managers, players. But we'll talk offline and get that happen. Let's go, Tindakai. Who's your wish? I think I already know the answer to this one, but tell the people.
There's a guy on our group named Josh who loves to speak about Bobby Firmino and his intangibles. I am not a fan of intangibles, and that is all we're getting from Kai Havertz right now. So, I could go on for a while. I'm just going to leave it there that, he needs to go on the bench. I don't understand why Trossard is sitting out, and I'll even play Fabio Vieira at this point. But honestly, he needs to sit down for now. But let him come in when things are, because we've been on the struggle bus. Glad we've got 6 points, but I think he needs to be maybe bedded in slowly because he's on the struggle bus.
Yeah.
And then just a special shout out to people talking about Everton and Wolves. It's like the third game weekend. I think we've got a relegation derby on Saturday, Everton versus Wolves. I don't wonder how that's gonna go. That's gonna be a very interesting game.
So I'm gonna go with my wishu. I think for me, it's pretty simply Mikel Arteta, in the way that he has set up the team for the first 2 games of the season. That's a big swing and a miss. We've lost Timber for the whole season because we're trying to play. I don't know what formation we're trying to play. 3-2-5 or something like that. Gabriel, who had started 73 games in a row, just hasn't managed to start a game. So I think that's a big swing and a miss. I know we have 6 points, but we don't look good because we're experimenting a lot. And I'll give them some credit. I think you need to look good at the end of the season, which we didn't look good at the end of the season last year. So maybe he's just working on a marathon pace of starting slowly and then building up to speed. But as it is right now, it's a struggle. So we'll see. But anyway, guys, Nyasha, who is your wishu if you want to unmute yourself and let us know? Yes.
Okay, my biggest wish has to be Liverpool's transfer business. You can't have a situation, like literally, you can't have a situation where Southampton say, "Oh, give us 50 million," and we go like, "Ah, no, we got 40," and it's like, "No, give us 50 million." No, we got 45. Give us 50 million. No, we got 46. The last time we did that, we ended up having to pay 75 million for VVD, and that was very unnecessary. Like if these guys say they want and they know we've got the money, then worse yet, all of a sudden we're gonna offer 115 million the next week for someone else. And now, if we're trying to get a deal, like we're very lucky we're dealing with reasonable Germans with Enzo, and was like he's an unknown guy. But anyone who's off their leather, they know that Liverpool has got 120 million, and that's what they're gonna demand. We've already put a premium on every single player that we're gonna go after simply because we put ourselves in a desperate situation, just because we didn't want to cough up 50 million.
Yeah.
And
that's a big swing and a miss.
Yeah, it's
Nyasha,
massive.
Nyasha?
Yeah.
By the way, we'll take 15 million and we'll give you Sambi and Elneny double package.
You know what? We'll give you. I'll top that. We'll give you Scott McTominay and 15 million.
Oh man, yeah, you need a DM. That needs to happen. I mean, I said it a couple of episodes ago that I don't know that Liverpool can sustain a challenge without a DM. So we'll see what happens there.
They haven't got any depth because if someone gets injured, well, that's the end of it.
Yeah. So. Okay, well, guys, it's been good. It's been fun. I'm going to send you guys out on this real quick. Tell me what you're watching this weekend. Give me three words. You don't have to explain it. You just have to tell me what you're watching. So, Tate, what are you watching this weekend?
Newcastle, Liverpool. Easy.
Okay, Loazi.
Oh, what am I watching this weekend? I think definitely I wanted to go Villarreal, Barcelona, actually. I've been kind of
Okay.
keeping up with Barcelona with Gundogan obviously playing that side and also just seeing how he adjusts to it. And Lewandowski has a bit been lackluster. I don't know why, but I don't know. Like Xavi's been questioned a lot about the way how he's handling the team so far, with because you see the likes of Ansu Fati, I mean, coming in, and next thing being out, and then Ferran Torres coming in as well. And you also have to think about Ansu Fati. Is he gonna have a good season this season? Nah, he's not showing those signs at the minute. So Barca and
He'll get sold.
Villarreal.
He'll get sold.
Okay. Barca
Taff, what do you
Villarreal
want?
for me, gentlemen.
I think Springboks All Blacks, right?
Oh yeah, talking about
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big game. The Mac, what are you watching?
I'm watching Everton Wolves out of spite. I want Everton to be relegated. You know, I used to look at them like a little brother, but nah, those guys are a-holes. Especially when they did that game when they're trying to give a draw, and Pickford and Lampard was like, oh, and they were trying to, no, you guys got to get relegated.
Tinashe, what you got?
You're so harsh.
I've got 3 words for you. Bounce back game. Chelsea v Luton. Let's see what we can do.
Okay.
I personally won't be watching it, but I'll keep an eye on the live feeds. But yeah, that's the game.
Okay. I pulled Nicholas Jackson into my team, expecting a haul from him. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm gonna say it here now. Hat trick. Nick.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take a hat trick.
Let's go.
Please, if you say those things, just be here for the next podcast.
Tell the guy what you
All
got.
I'll ask, if you say those things, be ready. If you win, we'll say congrats.
I agree.
Get that hat trick in there, man.
But let me just say this though. But if he does score a hat trick, I'll be unbearable. Are you ready for that though? That's what you have to think about. Are you ready for that?
We've been in a group with you for 10 years. We're used to it. We read.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go.
To the guy, what are you watching?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch a bunch of Premier League games, and I guess I'm gonna watch what's it called? I'm gonna watch some F1 and just see Max Verstappen destroy our hopes yet again.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
that's true. That's what I have my eye on. The Dutch Grand Prix, the restart of the F1 season, amongst all the Premier League games that we'll watch. But it should be fun. We'll be back again together in a couple of weeks. So, gentlemen, thank you for your time, and I'll send you the rundown for the next one. But be prepared. We'll talk about managers. We'll talk about players. And we'll see if Nicholas Jackson gets a hat trick. It's been Chibu Boo Boo. We'll catch you guys later.
Peace.
Peace.